I'm about to do something stupid again. What in the fuck? I mean, it's a 45-degree spot and you're at more than 90 degrees and you're backing into the concrete thing. You know, this is what we have a problem in the trucking industry. Companies want to hire stupid people so they can make more money. This is going to be a rant video, so if you don't like rants or complaining or bitching and moaning, this is not your video. Just a heads up. You know, everywhere we go, there's a corporation currently trying to bone you by giving you less and asking you for more money. You know, where everyone wants to scream tariffs, the reality is we haven't had enough time for those tariffs to actually hit our prices. You got to, understand that there is a supply chain and it takes a while for things to go through it. And yes, it is probably costing us some freight at the ports. No doubt. But there's been things that happen in the trucking industry that I'm not going to get into. But, basically it's a bunch of illegal immigrants that are no longer having trucks. So it balances out and there's enough freight to go around. And that's been my experience to a point. I'll get back to that in a minute. But everywhere we go, companies are trying to jack up their prices and they give you absolutely shittier products. Recently, for example, you got Xbox. Microsoft is a big one in my brain right now because I'm in the process of divorcing them. It's going to be a long, lengthy process, but I think I'll manage. But they raised the price on Game Pass and didn't give you any added value. They gave you some Fortnite shit, and if you don't play Fortnite, which I don't, because only certain motherfucking types of people play Fortnite, and I'm not one of them. In Windows 11 being forced down the throats of everyone, as in, even if you have a certain computer that won't run it, that's excluded from their approved CPU list and all the other hardware lists, then you're just left without an operating system support at that point. Which means you're open to viruses and hacks and all that other shit, which is scams and hacks are off the charts right now as well. Everyone's trying to get rich off of your ass right now while giving you nothing in return. And so, I'm trying to, right now I'm eyeballing, do I go to another evil corporation that's maybe not as bad as Microsoft? Or do I go with, which that being Mac? Spoiler alert, I'm probably going to go Mac because of my music production and video editing stuff. Or do I go with Linux that you have to have a degree to sort out how much different distros there are and how many different things you got to learn to type, and you got to practically be a programmer or a hacker to use it properly. And even then, it doesn't run everything, doesn't do everything. It's getting better, but it's not there yet. There's a reason why it's free. But that being said, I'm looking at one of either Mac or, which is another evil corporation, but at least they're upfront about their greed. The story of Apple hasn't changed all these years. They just charge you more for the fucking shit that says Apple. That's all. You're paying double what it's worth. But that's always been the case. They're not suddenly dumbing down their shit and simultaneously asking you for more money. You know, and it's everywhere. Like, why are restaurant prices skyrocketing? Why are food prices skyrocketing? That has absolutely nothing to do with tariffs, right? Has everything to do with inflation, right? Inflation being a monetary policy driven by the government, driven by the Fed, and driven by $1.7 trillion in consumer spending on credit cards. You know, don't get me started. But so corporations are still on top of the world. The stock market is at all-time highs. Crypto's going up, thankfully. I was starting to get worried for a minute there. But it's up today. It's going up pretty good. Hopefully that trend keeps going. So, as if all of this isn't enough, where I'm just trying to make these little changes in my life, you know, no more Starbucks and none of that shit, you know, which I'm out of coffee right now, but we'll get to that in a minute, because we're about to get into the story where I do something dumb again. The corporation I work for, you know, they have their pluses. Time off isn't usually an issue. If I want to go casual, it's not an issue. Got to give up a truck to do that. But damn if they aren't doing the same in shitification and cutting corners. More so. They've always done this. They've always fucked the drivers. One of the ways they fucked the drivers, let's pay zip code to zip code. There was a load I ran this week where I had 60 miles following their GPS route, 60 miles, not paid. Which, when you average it out, brings everything down. So, there's that. But they've always done that. That's part of the game. You just try and make sure you squeeze more cents per mile out of them. You know, or other things like layover and stuff that kind of make up the difference at some point. None of that's going on for me right now, and that's pissing me off as well. But things like that have always been a part. But now, the latest scam that the corporation I work for in particular is running, is they got rid of the sliding pay scale based on short haul miles. So basically the way it works is if you run a shorter load, you get paid more per mile, because the understanding is you're going to be sitting at a customer for 2-3 hours, sometimes 8 or 9 hours. We'll get to that in a minute, because I'm currently going through that right now. You know, but you got paid more per mile. So the latest scam is they got rid of that, and they made it different regions get different pay scales. And Northeast region, for me in particular, would pay 84 cents a mile. But it would be those kinds of shitty 200-mile runs, 100-mile, 150-mile, and then you sit for 3 hours, and then, you know, at the customer, and then you do it again and again, and I don't want that. I want to drive. I want to drive and get paid to drive. I don't want to get paid to sit. I don't want to have to sit in places with, you know, where I can't relax, because this is not relaxing, being in a customer's fucking waiting area. Or being in a dock all day. And so I am on a fleet that is supposed to be OTR, as in you're doing longer runs. Anything over 300 or 400 miles per day. 400 being the sweet spot, you know. Because any more than that, and you're going to run out of hours, and any less than that. You know, but that's about what I need to survive. It's not the best. It's not optimal. Obviously, you would want 500 or 600 miles, or even close to 700 miles if you're really good at running hard every day. That would be nice, but it's just not how it works, and hasn't for years out here, at least in the companies I've worked for. That being said, I've been hitting productivity bonuses. I've been piling miles on, but a lot of that was moving those empty trailers for a month. But now I'm back out in the real world, in the freight. And wouldn't you know it, you know, we did everything. They put me on the Southeast region fleet, which pays less than Northeast region, but you got more space in the South between customers. And I've found that you don't have to sit as often. I mean, you do sit from time to time, but not as often. But I liked it. You know, it got me away from the Northeast. It got me to the South, and it made me happy. You know, but we can't have happy truck drivers. So what happens is that every time I get sucked into, because I live in the Northeast, obviously, anytime I'm in that area, I get sucked into what I call the vortex of pain, which is New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and New England. That is the vortex of pain. That is the worst place to drive a truck. You're going to be spending lots of times in traffic. Baltimore, Washington, D.C., all of these included. You know, Philadelphia, New York City, all of Northeast Jersey, you know, most of Connecticut. You know, these are all not fun. New York at least has some wide open spaces from time to time if you're going within the state, but there's not a lot of freight up there. And the part that's more lucrative. But that's why you're supposed to get 85 cents a mile to do the Northeast region. It's because of all that extra short hauls, and you're sitting a lot at customers. You know, you're not at the truck stop, you know, you're in your little box. And a lot of them won't let you use their bathroom, so you're going to shit in a bag or pee in a bottle. You know, or maybe you're lucky and they give you a porta potty that non-domicile immigrant CDL driver's already blown up right before you. You know, and then they go out and kill a bunch of people on the highway. You know, we don't get paid for that risk, of course. And they don't get paid, by the way. They do it for pennies on the dollar compared to us. And that's another thing that corporations are doing, is getting rich off of our safety. Because it's not safe to put untrained, illegal drivers on the road. You know, that ignore the fucking rules that I have to follow for safety's sake. You know, like sleeping, mandatory 10-hour break, 14-hour clock. These are all things I follow, not these guys. Why? Corporations profit more money. That's why. So, getting back to the scam that's being run on me, and I hate it, is they will suck me into the vortex of the Northeast and bounce me around on these 150 to 300 mile loads at customers that you generally, or they're not dropping hooks, you have to sit there for fucking 3-4 hours at a time. And the first 2 hours of that is unpaid, by the way, as far as detention. And then you get $15 an hour after that. They might have raised it to $16, which is shit. I can go work at McDonald's and get that. And so you sit there all day and you don't make any money. That happened to me yesterday. Now, mind you, I get paid 71 cents a mile currently on the Southeast Regional Fleet, but they have bounced me around the Northeast the whole time. Can you see where I'm getting at here? So they are essentially not paying me to do the Northeast region and then making me do the Northeast region. That is the scam. They're saving money. Why pay a regional guy 85 cents a mile or whatever the hell it is? And it's usually the same for most people to entice people to do these shitty accounts. Why pay that guy who's probably sitting in a truck stop wondering where his freight went? Well, we can pay the other guy who's about a good 14 cents less to do the same load. And then maybe we pay him the fucking detention, because that doesn't always go through either. Well, that's what happened to me yesterday. So I'm like, all right, every once in a while out here over the years of trucking, you got to take an L every now and then. Every once in a while, you're going to have an unproductive, shitty fucking day because these big corporations do not respect the time of drivers. You're on their schedule. They could give two fucks about whether or not you're fucking feeding your family or what. That's probably them right now. Whether or not you're making money, you know, they don't care. They don't fucking give a shit. They'll keep you sitting for 3 days if it fits their fucking, makes their stock go up a point. So I did that yesterday, and I had another load. And I waited for almost 4 hours to get in the door. This was a paper load. Recycled paper, they take the bales off, they turn it into corrugated cardboard rolls and all that kind of shit. Recycling plant, which never shuts down. No matter what the economy's doing, those loads are always there. And if I want to do those loads, there's places that'll pay me a lot more to do it and be home every night. Just put it that way. And don't think I'm not looking at that as an option. So I did that, and I had another load that had decent miles on the back end of this. Sometimes one of the strategies is to give you a shitload and then give you a good load packaged with it. Well, I had one of those. But the one I had a specific load time, as in it was a lot of fucking live load, which would have ate up more time. But I was starting to notice that I'm still in line. I'm not in the door yet, not being unloaded yet. And the guy unloading wasn't cranking the trucks out very quickly. You would think just taking bales off a trailer would be quick, but no, not so much. I know it should be quicker than the way he was doing it because I've worked for companies that haul that shit before. So I know precisely how long it should take for a good person that's doing it and for somebody that maybe doesn't like their job doing it. And it was taking all fucking day. So I called the company and said, I'm like, my company. And I said, I'm not going to be able to pick up the load. It's not happening. It's not going to be on time. So the planner decides that the best course of action, and I was kicking and screaming through this whole process, would be for me to leave the customer and bring the load to a yard and then go pick up the other load, because the other load was one of their primo customers. That they don't want to fuck around with. They don't want to be late. And it was 3 hours from the appointment time when I told them that this not looking good. So by the time they got around to telling me that I had dispatching me to where I had to bring this to a yard, I was already locked into the door and they'd already taken the first bale off. And there's no way this customer is going to let me leave when they've already started unloading. So I sent that to them, and there was a big debate. I was told not to tell the planners how to do their job, and I refrained from saying that the planners need somebody to tell them how to do their fucking job because they suck at it, which they do, by the way. At least the Northeast planners. The other planner, when I was in the South region, that was great. I love that. And empty trailer thing, that was an anomaly. I made set record mileage doing that. It was great. It was endless running. Not anymore. And it ain't the economy. This is not the economy. This is stupidity that's got me sitting again today. So I computed my average hourly yesterday, and it worked out to $17 an hour. And for that, I got up at fucking probably around 8 or 9 in the morning because I couldn't be early to the customer. I had to be there around the appointment time. And I spent the entire day all the way up till 7:30 p.m. working. And by working, I mean part of that was that sitting in the customer part. But the rest of it was hilly mountains, back fucking woods routes to get to Philadelphia area, to go through Philadelphia, thankfully non-rush hour Philadelphia, mainly around the outskirts because I know not to go through it. Cross the bridge near Chester to another customer to pick up the load that I have now. The load that I have now was 130 miles, if I remember right. 130 miles. It took me a good, I want to say, close to 3.5, almost 4 hours to pick up that load. Just because of traffic, going through all of these side roads with traffic lights, and basically my average speed was down to 30 miles an hour. It was, I knew I was getting fucked while I was happening. I was like, this is horrible. I'm not making any money right now, and I'm working my ass off. So I picked the load up. Thankfully, it was easy. It was a drop and hook, and it said it was a drop and hook here. And I am really close to calling out the place I'm sitting right now because this is fucking stupid. This is the dumbest shit in my 20 years of trucking. This is the dumbest shit I've seen in my 20 years of trucking. 21 years. I can see their yard right now. I'm looking out the window at it. I'm not going to show it because I don't want to shit where I'm eating just yet, but I might shit. There's some shit working up. It's brewing. There's plenty of room in their yard. They got a massive DC yard here. So I pull in, and I got up because I have another load tomorrow morning that picks up, and I have 500 miles to do between now and then. I got 2 loads after this load that I'm on now, and they're both good, mileage-wise. One of them's got a lot of sitting involved. Grocery warehouses. So I get up at fucking 2:30 in the morning. I went on a quest for coffee because I'm out of coffee, and I found a 7-Eleven, which was, don't even get me started, but let's just say that experience was an adventure unto itself. And I crawled my ass, and I got driving around 3 in the morning because guess what? Turns out you can drive through Baltimore and Washington, D.C. and New York City and all of these areas. That's the best time to get through it. And I was pretty close, so it was still dark. I was getting through. There was no traffic jams, no backups, no bullshit. So I got here nice and smoothly. Get to the gate. Expecting a nice quick drop and hook. I don't even need an empty because the load I'm picking up's at a yard. So I thought it would just be a wham bam, here you go. No. Nope. That was this morning. It is now 11:30 in the morning. I got here. What time did I get here? It was like 5 a.m. Yeah, 5 a.m.-ish. 4:30, 5 a.m. It was pretty quick. Pretty early. And I was expecting to keep running because I wanted to get through DC and all of the I-95 shit, all fucking, I wanted it to go quick and smooth. So I was going to keep on pressing. So I get there and they're like, you can only drop this during the appointment time. And I'm like, but it's a drop and hook. Like, I'm just dropping the trailer. No, you're only allowed to drop in a 2-hour window. I can see trailers, both loaded and empty spots in their yard. This isn't like one of those shit show yards. I've seen shit show yards where they have them trailers everywhere, trailers in the fucking employee parking lot, trailers coming out of their ass. This ain't that place. In fact, I'd say they've got a shortage of trailers and they could use a few extras. And I have one. Here you go. Don't give me one out. You just increase your trailer pool by 1. Now, can only drop during the appointment time. So I'm pissed at this point, obviously, this morning. And they pull me into the waiting area, of which is full of trucks waiting. I'm not the only driver getting fucked here. There is a complete row, and I don't think I've heard a motherfucker move. This whole fucking time, I have yet to hear somebody get pulled out and go deliver. Since I've been parked here. And it's fucking been hours. More than hours. Like 4 or 5 hours so far. I don't get to unload and drop this trailer till after 2 p.m. This was not reflected in the dispatch that I received. So I'm sitting here all day, and there's a question. I'm like, well, if it's an appointment time, because typically you're not allowed to get detention pay until after the appointment time. But the appointment time wasn't reflected in my delivery. It was deliver it when you can get it here. Anytime between midnight and midnight is what the dispatch said when I accepted this shitload. My mistake. Consequently, I had previously refused this load, and it turns out to be the same load. So I saved myself pain when I did that the first time. But I had no grounds to refuse it this time, so I had to accept it. And it was on the way to where my next load is anyway, so I might as well get some pay going, but mostly for the company, because I'm not really benefiting. If they deadhead me, I'd still get the same paycheck. Would have been making a lot more money today if that had been the case. But no, I'm still here. I get in this parking area and I immediately start calling people, emailing planners, emailing fucking CSRs, going, somebody do something. Either get permission for me to drop it or send me to a yard and I'll drop it there and someone else can deliver it. May God have mercy on their soul. Neither of those things have happened. Not only did I not get replies to any of my messages until 4 hours later, 3 hours later, as I begged them, and I told them, guess what? Load number 3, which consequently also gets me home, that load, that ain't going to make it. That picks up at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and I've got to deliver the current load, and if they take that away from me, I'm just going to be like, they don't want to do that. I hope they don't do that. Because I want the load that's next. It's good miles. It's an easy load. It's a drop and hook on both ends. I want that load. The other load is a live load, and it's a shit show. And I could picture them. They're probably already doing that. Probably taking the good load, giving me the shit load. But if they do that, that'll be my last load for this company. So all of that to say is I'm not making money today either. And after I get done here, the traffic's going to probably be shitty. It's a Saturday, so maybe not, but the traffic's going to suck. But I think I need to leave the corporate world again and go back to gig economy for a while, to where I have control over my work, where I have control over where I go and how I go there, but I get paid a lot less. Which one could argue the $300 something a week I'm spending on food out here could offset that, earning power wise. But I am in a better position than the last time I quit, so there's that. But I'm thinking of quitting again. I'm like 70% wanting to be like, fuck these people. Fuck the corporations. Fuck all of these shitty places. Someone else can bring you your shit. I don't want to fucking do it anymore because they don't pay me enough to fucking do it. If you want me to sit here all day, pay me a fucking $35, $40 an hour. I'll sit here all fucking day. And I'll be happy about it. I'll be smiling. I'll be like, yes, I'm sitting here all fucking day and I'm getting fucking paid. Yeah. They're paying me to sit in my ass. But if I have to sit here all fucking day and I don't get paid but maybe $15 an hour after the first 2 hours, which averages it down to more like $10 an hour when you think about it, then I start to get a little irritable. I start to be like, fucking corporate fucks, saving money. I hope your fucking stock goes up. Maybe I should buy some of it so that I'll get fucking paid for all this time that I'm sitting here, all the money that you're saving off of my fucking fat ass, you pieces of shit. Fucking tired of it. Why do I do this? Why do I fucking do this? I've had enough. It's almost better to be broke at this point. With the way things are, the prices off the fucking charts, corporate greed at an all-time high, No quality of service, no quality products anymore. Name one thing that doesn't suck right now. One thing that doesn't suck in some way or another. In the comments below, I want to know that there's something good in the world. What doesn't suck right now? What doesn't cost 10 times more than it did 2 years ago? What isn't fucking degrading in quality to where it breaks? What actually lasts and does stuff good, you know? And don't give me the used market, because right now Goodwill is gouging people. They're fucking everyone too. Getting free shit and marking it up. Suddenly, was there terrorists? Is terrorists why Goodwill is marking shit up? Can you explain that to me? Is it all tariffs? It's all greedy fucking scamming horse shit is what it is. Fuck. This is what happens when you make me sit here unpaid all fucking day. Or paid $10 an hour, which is almost like a slap in the face with your genitals. So yeah, I'm now faced in this dilemma again because I got home time coming. And I am seriously considering just doing what I did last time. And that's get out, get back in the gig economy, try and do a few things differently, which I'll get into, but math-wise, I can sustain myself for at least 2, maybe 3 months, and if I'm successful with gig economy shit, I could possibly even get to 6 or 8 months before things start to get bad. Or I could succeed and be my own boss and have no problem there. Turns out when you're responsible for your survival, it does breed innovation and creativity. So there's that. Whereas this does not breed inspiration and creativity. This breeds rage and stress headaches is what this fucking causes. But I think I'm done. I don't know. We'll see how today plays out, but I'm not happy. Let me check and see what my work may have sent me something. Wouldn't that be nice if they actually gave a fuck that I've been sitting here all day? Oh wait, do they? Oh no, they're telling me service is due on my truck. An automated response. See, that's the other issue. Nobody cares in my company that this is going on. No one is helping me. No one has my back. You want to know why? You want to know why? Corporate fucking greed, people. Yes, let's fire everybody and replace them with AI. Because AI clearly gives a fuck that I'm sitting here, right? They have empathy, right? Did they put empathy in ChatGPT? In Gemini? Is there empathy? Can it feel that I'm pissed off and that I might leave the company and cost who knows how much money to put a new ass in this seat? Not to mention the lease payments on the truck that I'm in, that however long it sits after I get out of it. Or they're going to hand it to the new illegal immigrant. They'll crash it. Because, by the way, when I got this new truck, was wrecked. Bent fairing, fucked up bumper. Yeah. And the inside wasn't in the greatest either and had 30,000 miles on it. I don't even know if I can put this fucking video out. That's how fucking angry I am. And I still got more time to sit here, by the way. So I'll get to edit this. Because it's only 11:30. And I'm here till 2. And that's what's going to happen. And then I'll take the next load. The other load ain't happening. On principle, it's not happening. I'm not even going to get rescheduled to wait another day. Which I could see happening as well. You know. No, I think after the next run, I might be done. I might just go home and clean out the truck. Hand them the keys and be like, y'all suck. You know. And they won't change. You know, nobody takes accountability anymore for the things that suck. You know, nobody cares about how we feel as drivers. Anywhere. All they want to do is be able to go and loot their store. You know, fuck the guy that had to haul it across the country. that's sitting in the fucking parking lot of the store that you're gonna loot. Yeah, and I say that knowing that there's some looting about to happen in the near future because I guess EBT is going to be put on hold. It's funny how we can predict these things. It's not. It's like I'm psychic. So, but what does that mean for truck drivers? Sorry, the truck auto started on me. But yeah, it's not going to be easy if I have to quit. And I will look for another job, something local, something to day cab, no more in the box. And then I'll probably end up working 70-hour weeks and get miserable with that. But I'll be miserable for a while to pay off my debt, and then that'll be that, probably. You know, if I do the gig economy thing, I'll be treading water. There's no way I'm going to be able to pay off shit doing that, I don't think. At least it didn't work out that way the last time. And I also don't want to work 70 hours a week doing that. So I'm only going to work the necessary amount. It's still going to be a good size of time. We'll see how it compares to being in this box. You know, being in this box at times does pay more. I will tell you that. Like I said, when I was doing the empty trailer thing, I was making money hand over fist. It's good money. But I already know that this is going to be the status quo for that was the anomaly. This is going to be the way things are. And it's because there's planners that don't give a fuck, or there's AI that's doing all of the jobs, and there's maybe one planner left that doesn't give a fuck. Who knows at this point? I already know that they use AI in my company. I forget what it was I was trying to call. Oh, yeah, it was road service. Yeah, something critical like that. Let's hand that off to AI. I had a road service issue because I had a trailer that had a DOT inspection that was overdue, so I had to have it done before. And it had like a tail light that was out and all kinds of other shit. It had a tail light that was out and all kinds of other shit, and they had to fix it. So I called in, and it was AI answered the phone and asked me all kinds of questions. All the questions that normally road service would ask me, AI was asking me. So yeah, that's coming. Big AI apocalypse. Do I really want to be working out here when that takes place? When all these people are angry because they have no work? You see, you can't make a massive change to the way society works like with AI without giving people a path to success. You know, there's no universal basic income. That would not work. The math doesn't math, okay? Yeah, they could print money all day and pay people, but at the end of the day, you'll be paying $150 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. That doesn't work mathematically. I mean, you can do it for maybe a year, maybe two, before it blows up. No, you got to give people something to do, to make money, to spend money, to keep the economy going. This is a debt-based, spending, velocity-based economy. When you have fiat currency, if you're not constantly growing your GDP and constantly spending money, guess what? It falls apart. It collapses. And right now is the most schizophrenic I've seen the economy because you got a whole bunch of motherfuckers on the internet telling us how everything's bad, everything's going out of business, everything sucks, I can't feed my kids, like my EBT card's getting shut off, fuck this shit, we're going to wherever and doing whatever because I can't get my EBT card that they took a whole day's of my pay to pay for your meals, you know. It's the other thing. I had a good record earning week, and guess what? $500 of it went to the fucking government. You know? Imagine how that feels today. You know that $500 came out. Like I'm basically just sitting here to earn back the money that they just took. And I'm not doing a very good job because of corporate fucking greed and bullshit and lack of respect for my time. Fucking yeah. And I'm sorry, you saw the title. Greedflation is definitely making me crash out. And this is a crash out video if I've ever made one. But yeah, I don't fucking want to keep doing this if this is how they're gonna do this. I'm out here already having to deal with increased risk to my life. Like another driver just took out, was it 3 more people and injured a bunch more? Drunk, illegal, got a CDL from good old Gavin Newsom in California. And the full dash cam video was released along with a nice little aftermath of a phone panning past the whole wreckage. I hope they throw the book at that guy. And who was breaking more than one law? He was here illegally and he was drunk driving. Well, pill driving. Gee, I wonder what pills he had to be on. Probably because, guess what? He wasn't obeying the hours of service. He probably had driven 24 to 36 hours before that and was using things to keep him awake. This is shit that got rid of paper logs to fix. And yet now you got these companies that go in and edit the electronic logs to make everything good. And then when you figure it out, they just start a new company. That's why you should be wary of any truck you see duct tape or any kind of janky fucking DOT sign on the side of their truck. That's a good sign that that's not a safe driver, and you should take a little extra attention to that person. And I've been doing that, and thankfully I've caught a lot of people about ready to fuck up everybody. As you've seen in the video that I show earlier in this fucking rant. But yeah, it's all corporate greed. That's what all of this stems from. People dying on the roads, the risk to my life, the $17 an hour day I did. Listen, if I'm getting paid $17 an hour, I can think of a lot more better, easier, fun jobs that I actually get to see my girlfriend doing than being in this box. I'm not going to be in this box for no fucking $17 an hour. I don't care what the fuck your excuse is. Oh, it was just a bad day. No, this is 2 bad days in a row, motherfucker. 2 bad days in a row, both of which could have easily been mitigated. Easily been avoided with just a little more attention to fucking detail from the planners. But no. They give me shit plans, and then when that doesn't work out, guess who they blame? They don't blame themselves. It's all my fault that you're giving me these shit loads that you shouldn't even be taking off the fucking load board. I'd rather sit all weekend than fucking do this. All right? At least then I'd have a truck stop. I could take a shower or do some fucking laundry or, have something productive in my life. But no, I'm sitting in this fucking parking lot. And if I gotta take a shit, I gotta shit in a bucket. Look at that. That's fun. We're having fun now, trucking. Fuck these corporate fucks. I'm tired. I'm so tired of it. And it's impossible to escape them. No matter what you do, you're dealing with one. Even the gig economy. Those are big evil fucking corporations. But at least you can have a little bit of yes or no. You don't have to go do their shit. You can shop around and get the best deal, at least, on a daily basis, as opposed to if I want to shop around and get the best deal, I have to job hop. Which is what I end up probably fucking doing in this scenario, because I don't think I can sustain myself with the gig economy, especially with all these fuckers getting laid off. Competition's going to be fierce. Which is going to drive down rates. Same thing that happens in trucking, consequently. But right now, they've got a lot less drivers, but the freight hasn't gone up, obviously. People aren't buying as much shit because their credit cards are maxed. I feel like this is about to blow up, and I don't know that I want to be out here when it does. But maybe I'm just having a bad day. I'm looking forward to your advice in the comments. I'm ready to go hop in my van, do the gig economy shit, maybe travel a bit too. My girlfriend isn't thrilled with that idea, but I was like, look, what's the difference if I'm out here in the box or if I'm traveling in my van? Making, as long as I'm making money, at least one, I'm a little happier because I can take the van anywhere I want and I'm on my time and I pick my loads. But I don't know. That's where I'm at. Let me know in the comments what you think. Am I just having a bad day? Maybe it's just all a bad day. I wake up tomorrow and I'm like, okay, I'll keep working here. But I will say this. The more I think about going back to what I was doing before, the gig economy, the YouTube, and all the little things, and trying to figure out different income streams, it was a struggle. I was unhappy with it, but it's not like this. This is stressful, miserable, and it definitely is dangerous, more dangerous than what I was doing. And they don't pay me enough for this. Nope. Even when I'm making that peak money, every time I make that peak money, the government just takes more. That's all they do. The government that's shut down right now, they didn't shut down what they're taking out of my fucking paycheck, are they? No, they're not even paying the fucking EBT people. You're taking $500 of my fucking paycheck and you're taking away EBT. Shouldn't I get a fucking discount on my fucking pay if you're not going to fucking give all these people food that don't have to work for some reason that I probably can't go out and get if I'm in that situation? Yeah, well, what the fuck? If the government shuts down, I should be not having to pay taxes, right? Is that's the thing? The only way to legally not pay taxes as a W-2 is to just not work. If you don't work, you don't have any taxes. Isn't that great? And then if you're really lucky, maybe you get some EBT. See how this works? See why socialism doesn't work? But what the fuck do I know, right? I just know I don't want to fucking do this if this is how this is going to run. No. They better have, on my way out the door, they might have some sweetheart deal. Because, I don't know if you can tell, I'm leaning there. I'm crashing out. I'm like, this is bullshit. I've had enough. I want to retire. I've been wanting to retire. It's been my whole fucking goal for the last how many fucking years? And yes, I've had 5 years of retirement, but I want the rest. I just want to stop. I've done my time. I'm not some 20-year-old saying I'm fucking No, I'm turning 50 and you know what? I know I'm not going to probably be around in my late 60s because my health isn't the greatest. So, you know what? Maybe I'd like to have some of the time I worked so hard for over the fucking 21 years of trucking and the fucking 10 years in the military and all the other bullshit I've had to do in my life. And let the young folk come out here and live in the box for a while and bring them their own shit so that they can go buy their Apple iPads and their fucking Apple Watches and get on TikTok and bitch about how fucking broke they are on their iPhone 16 Pro. Yeah. And then they get on their iPhone 16 Pro to tell me how they're upset that their food stamps are getting canceled. Fuck you. You should be on a fucking flip phone if you're fucking that broke. I worked hard for all the shit I got, and I don't hardly have shit. I've got one room of shit. Technically two if this counts as a room, but a lot of this shit came from my room. I've been living out of fucking backpacks and fucking bags for I don't know how fucking long now. I don't have roots or a place to call home. I'm a nomad. I've been a nomad. Now, some would argue, yeah, I got the room at my mother's. I could stay there. It's great. My girlfriend, she doesn't have any problem with me staying there, but the Canadian government doesn't want me to stay there too long. Otherwise, they might send their immigration enforcement and eject me. But it's crazy. I don't know. Alright, that's it for this fucking video. I'm gonna sit back and edit it, and maybe that'll be like therapy. Please like and subscribe for more shit. And I'll make more shit. And I'll also be making more content if I quit. You know, I haven't figured out what I'm going to do yet, but I'm sure it'll be fucking surviving without a 9 to 5 is going to be the theme for a little while. Till I get another local job, maybe. But I am going to give it a good go. Try and get through the holidays at least. Get through winter without having to hop in the truck. But it'll be a challenge because I do have debt. I do have the car payment. You know. So, yeah. We'll see. I'll probably make videos on how I'm surviving. Because I have a feeling I'm not going to be the only motherfucker out there. So, there's that. But I'll figure it out. I will. I do want to semi-retire, though. And maybe this will turn into that. Maybe this will be semi-retired, but still working enough to pay my bills. You know. And I still wouldn't qualify for EBT. Because I'd be making too much money trying to survive. Oh well. The fuck do I know? I'm not an expert. I'm just an asshole. Please like and subscribe for more shit. And I'll make more shit. If you want to help, and you're not broke, they didn't just take your EBT away, you can head over to the channel membership section. I do plan on releasing like long form videos of my music, as in like entire albums essentially on there. For your listening pleasure for members. I'm also thinking of doing some uncut videos and throwing them in that section as kind of some extras. I'm still going to do this, obviously. Now I got to get my ad revenue. $100 a month. Another corporation. That's another thing I can't get away from if I have this channel. So, oh well. But that's my thoughts. I know someone's going to be in the comments being like, yo, you can keep driving the truck. You're so much more entertaining when you're pissed off in the truck all the time. Yeah, but that means you don't care about my mental health if that's what your thought process is. You want to see me crash out. You want to see me lose my shit, which will happen if I keep doing this job. If this is how it is. You know. I don't mind sitting at a customer waiting in the door if I'm paid for it. So, and they're not paying me for that. When there are companies that do. And I know somebody's in the comments already typing. They're already typing. They didn't even listen to this part of the video. They're already typing. Look, why don't you just go work and drive flatbed and blah, 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 drive the tanker and blah, blah, blah. And they pay me $40 an hour plus overtime and fucking paid time off and blah, 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 blah. I know. But remember, I want to retire too. I don't want to work 70 hours a week. I don't. I'll be happy with a 20-hour work week. I can't pull it off with my current expenses, so it's probably going to be more like 40 hours. Which is still like semi-retirement for a truck driver, by the way. So maybe I'll find, I'm looking for part-time. I'm hoping I can find one of those 3-4 day a week part-time fucking trucking jobs. That's what I'll be looking for if I start hunting for another job. So, but this, no. Nope. I'm not going to sit at a customer all fucking day for whatever the fucking bullshit detention pay of $15, $16 an hour after 2 hours. So the first 2 hours bring down the rest around $10 an hour. I mean, they act like, and I understand, they think we're stupid and they're trying to make money off of us being stupid. And if you've accepted this. Guess what? They're making money off of you being stupid. Stop being stupid. Raise your hand and be like, look, Scott the truck driver said that you ain't paying me what I should be paid for this. It is 100% okay for you to stand up for yourself out here, and if enough of people do it, guess what changes? But if everybody just bends over and takes it, they're going to keep, laying the pipe on you. That's how it's going to work. So, all right. Have a nice motherfucking day. Shit. And if you see a truck driver out there, give him a hug. He needs a hug. He needs to know that somebody gives a shit that he's out here risking his life so that you can buy your new fucking iPad. Or have your Labubu. Fucking Labubu.
Bye.